Hi everybody, welcome to episode 15 of the full stack series with Django and React. And in this episode, we are going to be working on the user profile page. So back in episode 3, we built up the page. So right now, we're going to simply render real values, real data on the profile page again. So back to our code. If you go over to the pages folder, you have a file called profile page. Here's a page here. So we are going to add the routes for this page. I think I removed it before for the profile page. I'm going to add a route for it. So over here, maybe I'll do that on top. I'm looking for a place. Okay, let's do it under the home page. So I had the new routes. Now I'm going to give it a path called profile. Profile, yes. And the element is going to be profile page. Elements is going to be equal to, it should be equal to profile page. So we close it. So let's import the profile page quickly. I'm going to say import profile page. Yeah, that's it. So right now we have the profile page imported and we have the route just here. So here's a part called profile. So back to our project now. So whenever the user click on, okay, if you click on this name, on this card footer, we want to get to the profile page. If you click on this blog writer component, we want to also get to the profile page. So we are right now back to our card components, back to your blog card components, to the blog card. So let me just make this a bit smaller. Yeah, so we are here now. So here's the card footer. So we're going to go into the components, the card footer components. Yeah, so I'll just wrap everything. Just put the link tag. Let's close it. So let's import link. Yeah, from React to DOM, and I'm going to say 2 should be equal to profile. So let's see if it works now. So our page now, click on the card footer. Here it is. Click on it. Ouch, our profile page is not rendering. Let's see. Let's inspect to see what the problem is. Okay, right now it says blogs is not defined. So in the blog container, yeah, that's true. So remember, if you check now, if you go over to the blog container components, you can see it is expecting a prop called blogs. Even it's also expecting expanding. But over here in our profile page, where is it again? The profile page now, we are meant to pass a prop here called blogs. But since you're not passing any prop there, since we are passing nothing, it's fine. So what we are going to do is simple now. So we are going to go over to our blog container components. We are going to go back to the blog container components. And we have to give these blocks a default value. That's because if there is no value for blog, we want to use the default value. So now right now we're going to give blog a default value of an empty array. So with this now, this should solve the problem. So if blogs is not being provided by the parents elements, so these blocks will be equal to an empty array in a sense. Let's see. Back to up. You can see now, right now, we have the profile page displaying now. It's showing us what we want to see. If I click over here, yeah, so you can see right now, the profile is not providing the blocks to the block container. And right now, the block container has the blocks set to, it has the blocks set to an empty array. That's why you see nothing showing under here. We are just seeing the heading, but the actual blogs like this page is not being displayed. That's because the blogs are not being passed from the profile page. You understand? So on the profile page, blogs are set to an empty array. So right now we have our profile page being displayed. So we are going to add that same link to this blog writer component. This component is called blog writer.jxx. So we're going to go over to the blog writer components. We'll go over to your UI components. There's a file called blog writer. So now we're going to wrap this also with the link tag from React Router DOM. I'm going to say link. So I'm going to say to profile. So let's import link. I'm going to say import link from React Router DOM. Import link from React Router DOM. So we've got our link imported. So back, click here. Yeah, so you're now on the profile page. So perfect. So once you're on this page, what's the next thing? What's the next phase, right? So I want to simply, so right now I want to simply fetch so here's what's going to happen. So this profile page is meant to be dynamic. It is meant to be dynamic, you get. So if you notice now, if you click on any, so right now if I go over to the profile page, what I'm seeing there, I'm just simply saying slash profile. So I want to also append the, for example, now if I right now this is John Doe. So on the URL, I want to also add John's username. So I want to make every profile unique to the user. So if I click on Daniel's article, if I click on this Daniel's article, if I click on this cat footer component, if I click on it, I want to go over to Daniel's profile and see and know more about Daniel, and also see other posts Daniel might have written. You get, so this profile page is meant to be unique for every user. We're meant to see a different name here, a different bio, and a different set of blogs written by the user. You get, so back to our app components. So where we did the routing. So we're going to add a dynamic value. We're going to that's going to be the username. So I want to make every profile unique to a specific user. Hope you get. So right now I added the username now, so that's it now. So this colon here represents that the value here is going to be dynamic. That's what this colon means. So back to our cat footer. So I'm going to say, so instead of having to just say /profile, I want to also add the author's username. You understand? So I'm going to just put in, I'm going to say /profile / I'm going to say blog.author.username. The same thing applies to our blog writer component. So instead of having just profile, I want to also append the author's username, right? So right now, back to our page. Right now, I'm going to click on this link again. So right now, it's saying profile /Dan, right? I was saying. So if I click on if I click on Clinton's blog, right now it's saying profile /Clint. So get it right. So right now, this value we have here is dummy. So we are going to make the value dynamic right away. So that's the next step. So over to our backend code now. So we already have. So I'm going to explain the backend code that's going to help us fetch the user's information. So over to our backend code now. So we have our views.py. Here's the views. This gets user info, and this views as a serializer. Here's a serializer. So right now, here's our serializer, and all these fields we have here, all these fields except author posts are all coming from the user model, except author posts. So author post here is a custom field we added to our serializer. It is a custom field I added to the serializer, and this post simply helps us to get 9 of the blog posts the author has written or the user has written, and that's what this function does. You get, that's what this function does. You get, so the function is named after the field name. You only need to append this get and underscore. And once you are done with the function, you are then going to let our serializer know about this field by saying this field over here is a serializer method field. That's what the field is. It is a serializer method field. Remember, this is a function, this is a method. So right now you have to let your serializer know about this custom field. Remember, and this field here is a function and it's also known as a method, and that's why it's called a serializer method field. So what we did here, and then over to our views, we had to use that user info serializer you get. So here's the URLs. Here's the URL. So it's called get user info, and it is expecting a username because the users are being fetched by they are being gotten by their username. You can see we have to get the user by the username. So that's it about the backend logic. So back to our front end now, over to our API, over to the API blog.js file. So we're going to simply, you're going to write a new function. I'm going to say export async function. I'm going to call this one get user info. So right now we're going to be expecting the username, right? We'll be expecting the username get. So, and I'm going to just use a try block. I'm going to say const response should be equal to. I'm going to say await then API dot get. I will simply say get. I think the URL is called. Let's confirm what the URL is called again. It's called get user info and it's expecting the username. So back to our front end code. The username now is expecting it. And yes, you're going to pass this username over here. Right? And then we're going to simply return. I'm going to say return response.data. For the accept block, I'm going to say accept. So it's called catch, not accept. For the catch block, now we're going to expect our error. We just simply throw new error. Just simply say throw new error. Say error.message. Throw new error. So I think you go to our function is set now. So what's the next thing? So over to our profile page. I'm going to close some of these guys. So over to the profile page now. So what we're going to do now, so on this profile page now, we're going to use our use query. We're going to get to our data again. We're going to say const, let's just say const query should be equal to use query. I'm sure you're familiar with this by now. I really hope you're familiar with this use query. So back here, I'm going to say query key should be equal to, I'm going to just say users, and then we're going to pass in, okay, now remember we are trying to get a specific user. So we have to pass in a unique character, a unique identity for these users, right, in this array. So if we check here, up here, this username is unique. So we are going to pass this username over here. So how do we get the username? How do we get it? So we're going to get it like, we're going to just say const username should be equal to use params. So that's it now. So I'm going to just pass this username here. Yes, so once that's done now, our query function is going to be equal to, our query function will simply be equal to, we're going to just simply just say, remember the function is called get user info. So pass this username. Remember the function is expecting a username value, which we've gotten over here. We'll pass it here. We'll also pass it here. So that's that. So right now let's console query. Let's console.log query. That's what it's going to give us down to our page. Let's inspect. So now we're going to simply come back here. Let's close this. So let's go back to the user profile page. Let's clean up this. Click on Daniel Mike on this card footer. Click on it. So right, I can see what we got. We've gotten those data from the back end. So I'm going to open it right now. So you can see we have our data, we have the error, we have this error is fetch, we have is loading, we have is spending. So our consign now is the data. Let's see the data. So right now our data is returning undefined. So that's wrong. So let's see the backend. So right now it says custom user matching query does not exist. Okay, I know what to do. So back to our front end code. Let's console username. Let's simply console out username. Control C. Pass it here. Let's see what it gives us. Let's go back and come back here again to the profile page. The username is giving us Daniel. But if we check closely, from what we have here, from the URL, wow, something is not right. The issue is this now. If we check our endpoints is not passing Daniel. It is not passing Daniel. It is simply sending an object. It's meant to be get user info then / Daniel. But that's not what's happening. Let's check our code again. Let's go out to your API blog. Okay, so right now to fix this issue, sorry, here's my mistake. You're not meant to append username here. So you're not meant to add username here also. So remove it. That was a mistake I made. You're not meant to put it here. I meant to just pass it straight. I meant to just pass it straight to the function. You get, so that's what you're meant to do. So back to the code now. So right now you can see now, if you check the URL, it is appending the username right now. The username is being appended, user info / client. That's perfect. So right now I'm going to simply console.log query. That's what our query is going to give us this time. Okay, now open the objects. Let's see data. So nice. So data is giving us an actual user object. You can see we have the username, we have the first name. You can see we have everything we need now. The query is giving us what we want. So our data is gotten now. So right now we are going to simply destructure query. But I want to get is spending. I want to also get our data. Yeah, so that's it now. So yeah, so what we're going to do is simple. I'm going to simply, so here's our data, right? Here's the data. Perfect. And that data that was consoled out, the data also, as you can see, we have this author's post. This author's post is the list of articles the user have written. It's an array of articles the user has written. So data.author post will give us a list of blogs the user has written. So that's not hard. So back here, I'll just say const blogs should be equal to data. I'm going to put in the script. I'm going to put in the question mark and period, and then I'll say author underscore posts. Yeah, so that's it now. Okay, so I've got that now. So I'm going to pass these blogs as a prop down to the blogs container. Yeah, so now this one will solve the issue of the empty blog lists. So you can see now we have a list of blogs now on the profile page. So for the username, as for the bio, we are going to work on that now. So I'm going to just simply this data, I'll pass it as a prop down to the hero components. So I'm going to just say user info should be equal to data. So that's that. Okay, so right now we have to receive this user info prop in the hero components. We have to receive it there. So far to our hero components, here it is. So the prop is called user info. Yeah, so user info. So as for the profile picture, this pic, I'm going to just simply say, remember we have to pass in, I'm going to pass in the base URL first. So we're going to use a template literal. So we're going to say base URL, base underscore URL, and then we'll say forward slash. Sorry, no forward slash. We're going to then put some, and then we're going to simply just add another template literals, and then we're going to say user underscore info dot author, right? Dot author dot, sorry, user info dot profile picture, profile underscore picture. Because if you check the data that was returned, yeah, right now here's our data. And data has the bio, the first name, the job title, the profile picture. So it is directly in the data objects you get. So that's it. That's it. So right now it's called user info profile picture. Let's see if it reflects. Okay, perfect. Now this is Clinton's profile picture. So right now let's render his name and other information. So as for the name now, just say user info dot first underscore name. Do the same thing for the last name. Just copy this, Control C, paste it here. So last name, last underscore name. Do something. We are going to do the same thing for the title. So I'll just simply come over here and say user info dot job underscore title. If it does not exist, I'll simply just display this string. So as for the bio, just put in the simple. We're going to put in a bio there. We'll see user info dot bio. So I think that's what we need for now. So the bio is actually a lorem ipsum text, but right now we can see now we have the user. Right now we have the user's information. This is Clinton's profile. He's a product designer, and these are the posts Clinton has written. You can see his name on all the posts, right? So over here, I want to also just say Clinton's post, not just I want to also add. I want to add the user's name on this title in the block container. So how do we do that? It's simple. So back to our block container. Here it is. So just here. So I'm going to just come over here and say, I'll just say title should be equal to, I'll just copy all of this, Control C. I'll paste it here, and I'll put in title here. So right now, this is the default value of title. This latest post is the default value of title. So right from the profile page, I want to simply just say the title should be equal to, I'm going to just simply just say, I'll say username, that's Clinton, username. Now just add I'll add the apostrophe and then S, it's going to say Clinton's, then posts, right? And I want to also add the burger emoji. Of course, that's here. So now that's what we want to do. So back here, you can see right now we have Clinton's post. It's no longer latest posts. On the home page, it's going to be latest posts. Right. So, but on the profile page, on each user's profile page, I click on this is Clinton Mike. This is a different user. Oh, I opened this and show an error which is not supposed to be so. Let's see. It says user info is not defined. User info is not defined. So I know what the cost might be. So back here, I'll simply for this user info back to your heroes page. So remember this is an API request. It is an API request, right? So the information will not come immediately. It has to be fetched. So before it is fetched, the page might have rendered, and our data has not yet arrived. So to prevent the error, we're going to just add a question mark. So if user info does not exist, the question mark will make sure that there is no problem. That the question mark is going to simply help us avoid any error. You understand? So this is what we call optional chaining in JavaScript. So it's optional. So with this question mark now, this is going to be an optional value. Let's see. So you can see now it's back. It's back, right? So that's how it is. So we are not done. So I want to also add a load. I want to also, you can see it says code with Clinton's post, and the username up here is code with Clinton, right? So one last thing, let's add a spinner. So whenever you're coming over to the profile page, there should be a spinner. Instead, let's add a spinner that tells us that the post is being fetched, right? So over here, I'm gonna just say if his pending is true, we just simply return the spinner. So that's it. I'll go over to the home page. Let's try a different page now. Click here. Perfect. So now, yeah, so I think I'm done with the profile page now. So what's the next phase? The next thing is for us to update the user's profile. So right now, this lorem ipsum text, I don't like it. I want to use a real life bio. So right now, let's update the user profile.